What if it rained food? What if Earth was a cube? What if we had 9 lives? What if bits could fly? It's absurd. If money grew on trees, if we didn't have knees, if we walked through life slightly magnetical, it's absurd. Absurd Hypotheticals.
Hello everybody and welcome to Absurd Hypotheticals, the show where we overthink dumb questions so you don't have to. I'm your host Marcus Lehner, and I'm joined here today by Chris Yee and Ben Storms. Say hi, guys.
Hey, I'm Chris.
Hey, I'm Ben.
Guys, I'm excited for today because we managed to bring turtles to the podcast, finally. I don't know if we've ever talked about turtles at all on this podcast.
Yeah, I think we did it. We talked about it in the behind the scenes in our Patreon episode, but I don't think we actually talked about it on the show.
Yeah, we tried to do one of our animal training episodes with turtles, and it turned out there wasn't actually as many cool turtle facts that you think there might be. And a lot of the cool turtle facts you learn are about how they die to plastic bags and things in the ocean.
Not very fun, yeah.
So we ended up ditching our previous attempt at a turtle question, but we have found a way to bring turtles back onto the show.
A much more humane way.
In a fight episode, yeah. And it's more humane because we're not talking your regular old ocean, I was going to say garden variety, but really ocean variety turtles. We are going to be competing or fighting. We're going to be fighting turtles? Is that the verb I'm looking for?
We will not be fighting turtles. We will be discussing a hypothetical turtle fight.
Yes, we'll be discussing a hypothetical turtle fight between fictional turtles.
I am really sad now that you mentioned this, though, that we didn't just have one of us be like a box turtle.
There's not going to have too much of a chance compared to the other competitors. May not have made too much conversation. So we're here. We got a fight episode for those of you where it's the first episode. It's a little bit different than our typical episodes where we dive into a topic. What we'll do is we've each picked a fighter. We'll present their powers and abilities generally, and then we'll discuss and debate who would actually win in a fight and assign some percentages and pick an overall winner between the turtles that we have selected. So, Ben, I'm going to let you start off. Who did you pick for your turtle fighter?
I had the good old Heroes in a Half Shell, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, for those who do not know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are pretty much just what they say on the tin. They are a group of 4 turtles who mutated and are teenagers. And also are ninjas. It turns out, how familiar are you guys with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I can name 3 out of 4 of them on a good day.
You can't name all of them?
You can't? No, that's fair, actually. Which one can you not name? Okay, that's a hilarious question to ask.
Which one don't you know? So I actually grew up watching the old live action movies, and then I played a bunch of the video games.
Got it.
You know what it is, Chris? I can name 3 out of 4 of them. I'll name a different 3 out of 4 every time. I just always forget one.
on average, 75% of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So they actually were originally a comic book back in the 80s. And man, their origin story is buck wild. I'm not going to lie. So the overall, depending on what version of them you're looking at, the basics are always the same, which is that they were turtles that got some sort of goop on them and mutated and were trained in ninjutsu by their mentor, who was a mutated rat named Splinter. So the original origin is that Splinter was the pet rat of a ninja in Japan back in I guess earlier in the 1900s. And his owner, and he's just like a regular ass rat, just a rat. Who did apparently watch him do his training and enjoyed mimicking his movements, and that's how they say he knew ninjutsu. I don't know.
Love it.
But his owner gets into this whole thing over a woman and murders a guy, and then flees to New York City and starts a small martial arts school. And eventually, the brother of the guy who his owner murdered comes and kills him. And he flees down to the sewers, Splinter does. Who at this point, once again, still just a rat. Just a regular rat in New York City. And then one day, there's this young boy who's carrying 4 baby turtles home from a pet store. And a blind man was crossing the road in front of him. And a truck carrying these chemicals almost ran him over. And someone behind the boy runs past him, knocks turtles out of his hands, and saves the blind man. Turtles fall down. some of the chemicals from the truck spill down the drain after them into the sewer, covers them, and they're just down there in this like radioactive goop. Splinter finds them and gathers these baby turtles into a can. Once again, still just a regular rat at this point. Want to keep driving that home. Also gets coated in this goo, and eventually they all like evolve and mutate into roughly human-sized and intelligent / emotional aptitude creatures, turtles / a rat. And then Splinter, who is now a human-sized rat who knows ninjutsu because he watched his owner do ninjutsu, I don't know, trains them all in ninjutsu and they become master ninjas. I don't know. Also, fun fact, the blind man may or may not be Matt Murdock, who is Daredevil.
Wait, are
what?
they in the same universe?
I think maybe. I don't know. It's
Wouldn't he know to avoid the bus? Isn't like his whole thing that he's like has
well,
super
no, but
senses, even though he's...
the idea is that he gets blinded by the chemicals, and they also give him his powers.
Oh. So he didn't turn into a giant version of himself.
No, he just turned into a blind guy who's really like perceptive. I don't know.
Wait, so he was blind before he got his powers?
Yes.
I don't know. Oh, so he was just a regular
think
blind
so.
dude, and
He was
then
a regular-
became
hold
super
on.
blind dude.
You know, let's not go too far down this rabbit hole.
Not according to the Ben Affleck movie.
Let's maybe not focus too much on the Ben Affleck movie. Anyway,
Let's not focus at all on Daredevil. We have turtles to talk about.
these turtles specifically, Marcus may have named a couple of them. I can't remember.
I named 3 and couldn't think of the 4th.
Cool. So I don't remember which one he didn't name. The 4 are, there's Leonardo, who is the one with the blue mask. He uses 2 katanas. He's the most senior. They say the most senior of them, but they're just all like baby turtles. I don't know, whatever.
They're teenage.
But he's kind of the one who like acts as the leader. He's the most like mature one. There's Donatello, who has the purple mask, has a bow staff. Very cool. He's very smart. He does like inventions and stuff. That's kind of his whole shtick, is being smart. There's Raphael.
Ah, that's the one I forgot.
That's the one. He has the red mask. He has the 2.
He's the best one.
He is the best one. He has the 2 Psy. Fun fact about Psy, by the way. You look at Psy, and at least when I was a kid, I always assumed they were exclusively for like little stabby stabs. A Psy being, for people who aren't familiar, it kind of looks like a little handheld trident, where the middle prong is very long.
Or like a giant fork.
Yeah, big old fork that's not actually useful for like eating a salad because the middle prong is so long. But it turns out that apparently Psy sometimes they are pointed at the end and used for stabbing, but generally they're more like a truncheon and used for like hitting things. And the reason they're shaped like that is because you can like trap a weapon with them and like use one for defense and then like beat someone upside the head with the other one is kind of the idea. So I don't know for sure if Raphael's are pointy or not. It looks like it kind of varies, but may or may not be pointy, definitely are beady. And he is the sort of hot-headed, sarcastic one. And there's Michelangelo, who has the orange mask, and he has nunchucks, and he's the one who's kind of like happy and lighthearted. As we mentioned, there have been a lot of different Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles experiences. There was the comic, there was an animated series. I think there's like a new like CG animated series too. This is more recent. There were the live action movies that are weird as hell to look at now because it's just like dudes in rubber turtle suits, and it looks very strange. And then there was, I think, a pair of Michael Bay movies, right? One in like 2014 and then one sometime after that. I don't remember when exactly.
Did you end up watching it? You said
I
you were
did
going to
not
watch it.
I watched a
Aw.
couple of scenes from it. I did not get around to watching it. It is, at least as of the time of this recording, on, I think, HBO Max, if you are for some reason inclined. I watched the last scene of it because they fight Shredder in it, and I wanted to see what they look like in the movie. Didn't seem very
look
good,
weird.
but who knows? They do look very weird. So I guess traditionally, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are roughly about 5 feet tall and maybe like 180 pounds. They are jacked and giant in the Michael Bay movie. They're like easily 7 feet tall and like just entirely muscle.
They take their mask off in the movie and it looks really weird.
They made them look way too realistic. Like, I know you don't just want like weird, smooth body CG like turtles, but they make them like very wrinkly and turtle like, which this is one of those things where maybe realism should have taken a backseat a little bit because it doesn't make me happy. It does not bring me joy.
They almost made it up the other side of Uncanny Valley, but they did not.
They certainly did not. So overall, what we're looking at in terms of fighting, they are ninjas. They are skilled ninjas. They, are very skilled with their weapons. They do work together as a team. There's the 4 of them. Their weapons are lethal and they do kill people, at least in like the comics and stuff. Like, I think they like Like, I know Shredder gets like blown up with a grenade at one point in the comics. The comics are a lot darker than the like, cartoon series for kids, maybe unsurprisingly. In terms of overall like strength, it definitely varies based on, what is needed at the time, as comics and, movies and everything are wont to do. I know the best answer in terms of like their intended strength level. In 1985, there was a tabletop RPG company called Palladium Books that actually released a book called TMNT and Other Strangeness that was done with input from the original creators of the Turtles. And in that system, the average human they had like a I guess PS for like power scale or something. Average human is like level like 9, which is lifting around 180 pounds at full effort. The strength of the turtles varies by the turtle. The weakest is Donatello, who is at 13, which is about 390 pounds at full effort, which is pretty strong. The strongest is Raphael, who was 1,200 pounds at full effort.
That's a range.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. I figured in terms of like figuring out a comparison to people on that, looking at like a deadlift is probably the best idea. And the world record deadlift was just broken like mid last year with a 1,104 pound deadlift by the guy who plays the Mountain in Game of Thrones, Hafthor Bjornsson. So Raphael was slightly stronger than him, and he looks like the guy who plays the Mountain in Game of Thrones. So that kind of gives you an idea, at least, of sort of where we're going here. So they're agile as well. I know in the comics they like jump between buildings and stuff. So I mean, they are definitely strong. They don't have any like particular superpowers. The closest thing to that is in the Michael Bay movie, their shells are bulletproof. As far as I can tell, that's only in the Michael Bay movie, and that seems a little ridiculous because guns are strong, y'all.
I imagine the turtle shells we're all turtles, so
Right.
we all have shells.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm not going to say that human-sized turtles have bulletproof shells. That doesn't seem reasonable to me. So I'm not going to use that. I think that we all kind of have relatively similar shell, effectiveness. So I guess that's kind of where we are, is that we have 4 turtles. They are teenagers. They're all, I believe, canonically like 15 years old, who are in the realm of human strength, but ranging from, pretty strong for a human to like the strongest human, and with ninja-esque weapons. So that's kind of where we stand. Chris, what did you do?
So the turtle I chose was Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda. So if you haven't seen Kung Fu Panda, Master Oogway is the main character of Kung Fu Panda is Po. Po's master is Master Shifu, and then Master Shifu's master is Master Oogway. So it's kind of like a Qui-Gon Jinn situation.
He's a grandmaster, but only like in the same way that a grandfather works.
Is right, yeah.
He doesn't play chess.
You don't know that.
Yeah, he actually might. I don't know. He's pretty smart.
It'd be in character for him to play chess anyway.
Yeah, it would.
Or one of the like Asian-y
Maybe, like,
ones, like
Go
shogi or Go or something.
Yeah.
So he's not a teenager. He's actually like 1,000 years old.
Pretty old.
Very old. And that's actually pretty important because it means that he goes back until before Kung Fu even existed. He's the one that created Kung Fu. And he became the first master of Kung Fu. So he actually like ends up teaching pretty much every master of Kung Fu in the Kung Fu Panda universe. It all originates with him. So just getting into the movies themselves, I'll start with the first movie, I guess. So most of the movie, he moves actually pretty slow because he's a turtle and he's old. And they usually play it off as like a comedic thing. Like there's a scene where there's a bunch of candles in the room and he's trying to blow them all out one by one. So for most of it, he moves pretty slow. But there are like little snippets of him moving faster, which I'll get to later on. But for most of the movie, he's basically just there to give like wise advice because he's like very smart and he gives inspirational advice to all the characters. He remains calm through pretty much any situation, even when things look like they're dire situations and they're like there's no way they could win. He's very calm and he has faith that they'll succeed. Now, in the first movie, there is he doesn't fight that often, but there is one fight scene. And it's a very short fight scene. It only lasts 5 seconds, or around 5 seconds. But in the scene, Tai Lung, which is the the bad guy of the movie, is trying to steal the dragon scroll. And Shifu tries to stop him, but he fails. And then when Shifu fails, Oogway jumps in and uses his staff to like poke him, and then he does some like pressure point stuff with his hand and completely paralyzes Tai Lung. And that all happens in 5 seconds. So he was very effective. So he actually like jumped across the room at like high speed. So that's like his agility at play. Now, also during the movie, he does, I guess, metaphorically die. It's kind of unclear in the first movie. So he's like standing on a cliff or something, and then like a bunch of cherry blossoms surround him, and then they blow away and he's gone. He's disappeared. I guess they say he's gone to the spirit realm, but they don't really explain what that is.
Until movie 2?
Until movie 3.
Ah.
So movie 2, he's not in at all. Because I guess you're just supposed to think he's dead or something. But movie 3, it starts out with him in the spirit realm. And he's meditating with his eyes closed. And while he's meditating, the main bad guy of the third movie, Kai, throws a blade at him. And he catches it with his eyes closed, like with very little effort. And then he goes on to fight Kai in the spirit realm. And during this fight, he's able to fly. He shoots spells, like spirit spells or like yin-yang spells. I'm going to say that he can't use these spells, or he can't fly in the real world because he's in the spirit realm. Things are a little different. But I will say that like his reflexes of catching that blade do translate into the real world. So he has really fast reflexes. And throughout the movie, he also demonstrates inner peace. So inner peace is something that Po and Shifu strive to get throughout the first movie and second movie. So first movie, Shifu's trying to get it. Second movie, Po's trying to get it. It's basically just they're more enlightened, and it like improves their ability to fight. Oogway got inner peace like a way long time ago. So mentally, he's basically at his peak mentally. In the third movie, we also learn more about Oogway's past. So within those 1,000 years, he did a lot of things. So they said that he led an army with Kai, and they ended up getting ambushed, and he got injured from that. So Kai brought him to a village of pandas, and the pandas healed him with chi. So in the context of the movie, chi is like a life energy thing, and it was able to heal him. And then the pandas teach him in the ways of chi, and he becomes a master of chi. So he can heal people. Might not necessarily be helpful in a fight, but Kai also learns the chi, and he actually learns to steal chi from people. And Oogway disagrees with this, so he fights Kai, and they have a fight. The details of the fight are a little vague, but Oogway does win, and he manages to banish Kai to the spirit realm. So that's just another example of Oogway winning in a fight. And then, aside from the movies, there are some spin-offs, and one of the spin-offs is called Secrets of the Furious 5, and part of it details him recruiting Monkey, which is another one of the characters, into their little group. So in it, Monkey is like going around the village and he's pantsing people just because he wants to be like a troublemaker. And Oogway doesn't like this, so Oogway steps in and decides to fight Monkey. And during the fight, Monkey throws a bunch of banana peels at Oogway. Oogway like very slowly steps on one of the banana peels and then uses the momentum from him slipping to like dart towards Monkey and kick him. And then he like ends up tricking Monkey into slipping on his own bananas. So that's like an example of him outsmarting his opponent. And then at the very end of the fight, there's like a pillar that's about to fall on Monkey, and Oogway jumps into action. He like becomes super agile again, and he saves him from getting crushed. So he can be agile when he wants to. He just doesn't always choose to be. And then aside from the movies and that spin-off, there is also a Nickelodeon show. There's a lot of Kung Fu Panda stuff. And he, for the most part, he's not in this show at all, but they do mention him a couple times, mostly about his past. So we learn a little more about his past, but they tell of him training some more masters. And then there's one master, he trained an owl, and the owl turned evil. But he was able to foresee that the owl was going to turn evil, so he actually prepared for it, and he built an inescapable cage for the owl. So he's able to like sort of see like what's going to happen, and he's very smart. He plans for it.
I just love that, like, in the context of it's not, like, not imagining it as a cartoon character, anthropomorphic owl, where it's just like, so we trained this random owl to be a fighter, and he realized this is going to be far too much trouble.
Yeah, this owl is going to be trouble.
This owl's going to murder some folks.
And then he also does demonstrate the hardness of his shell. There's a scorpion that tries to sting him, and his shell shatters the scorpion's stinger. But we already established that all of us have shells, so not particularly relevant. But yeah, that's kind of it for Oogway. So basically, in the Kung Fu Panda movies, Po goes through like 3 main story arcs. He's trying to like believe in himself in the first one. He's trying to get inner peace in the second one. He's trying to master chi in the third one. Oogway already has all these for like the first 900 years, or the last 900 years of his life. He's incredibly wise. He basically has no flaws mentally. I guess he's slow physically, but he can be fast, so it's not really a flaw either. He's calm, and he's very difficult to fool, and he's able to fool others. So that's Oogway in a nutshell.
But you know what he's not, Chris?
He's not your fighter. Who's your fighter?
He is not the king of the Koopas, Mr. Bowser himself from the Mario franchise. If you don't know who Bowser is, first off, play some good Mario games. They're all awesome. But basically, if you don't happen to know who Bowser is a bipedal turtle villain. He's got like a green spiky shell. He's got sharp claws. He's got like metal, like this black metal spike choker collar thing, but also like arm and wristbands that are the same. So like black and spiky. And he doesn't have as much backstory. There is a lot of like stories he's in, but like his real backstory is just that he doesn't like Mario and Luigi. He likes kidnapping the princess, and since then there's no real like plot to it, but they are nowadays like very tongue-in-cheek about like, why does he keep kidnapping the princess, and why does she so easily get kidnapped all the time? But what I try to do with Bowser is he's in so many different things. I was trying to count him up, and he's on the order of something like 50, at least 50 different games. And I didn't have an exact count because it started blending in with the other appearances he's in. Like he's in comics, he's in shows, he's in a whole bunch of like crossovers and things.
He's in a live action movie.
He's in a live action movie. That's what I should have watched for my research. Just dust that one off. I'm sure that'll hold up. So, but what is the core Bowser? So for the core Bowser powers, first off, breathing fire. That's his main thing. He likes to breathe fire. He can shoot like little waves of fire, and he can make it like rain fire from the sky. All pretty good. He does a surprising amount of punching. I didn't realize he has like all sorts of games where like his main thing is that he has like, he's either punching as his main way of attacking, or has like super powered up punches, or the super ultimate KO punch that, you know, charges up and glows rainbow and explodes things. So he can do a bunch of punching. He's got his spiky turtle shell. He can go inside that and spin around.
That's right. Yours has spikes, so yours is better than ours.
Yeah, it is definitely strictly better. So we can just chalk it up to my win already just on that fact, but I might as well keep talking. Dexterity is actually an interesting one. This is one that's quite inconsistent with Bowser. Like, in some games, he's like the slow, meandering, like, you know, bulky guy, and sometimes he's like surprisingly agile. I think my favorite inconsistency is in the Mario and Sonic Summer Olympic Games. He's the slowest runner with a 2 out of 10 speed stat. But in the Mario and Sonic Winter Games, he has an 8 out of 10 speed stat. So he's depending on what mood he's in, I guess, he varies between a 2 and an 8 on how agile he is. But I will also make the point, because he is in all the Mario and Sonic and all these Olympic games, he's basically an Olympic-level athlete in every single sport, which is pretty cool. That's got to give him an edge somewhere. He also, in variant games, he exhibits different magical powers. He has some magic, not all the time, not a lot of it, but he does use it. One of the ones, the first one that was listed like everywhere is teleporting, which kind of annoyed me because it kept referencing him like teleporting into and out of fights after he's like defeated. I'm like, that's not a real power. That's just a lazy plot device. But no,
he can run away.
Yeah, no. But he actually does use it in battle in Super Mario 64, so you know it's a legit game. In the second round, you fight him in the lava place. As you approach him, he'll actually fade away and he'll teleport away and appear right behind you. So he can actually teleport in a fight if he wants to. In Super Mario Galaxy and Mario Party 9, he's shown to use electrokinesis, where he's able to just basically shoot lightning out of his hands. This one I don't think I'll be using, but I just put it on this list because it's funny. In Super Mario Galaxy 2 and in Super Mario 3D Land, Bowser's able to just fly at will. It's not really explained. He can just do it. And he has some powers of transformation. In Mario Party 2, he can like turn Koopa Troopa into like frogs. In Mario Galaxy, he turns himself like into a stone ball that rolls around. So he has like some access to magic. It's not really his main gig. His main gig's kind of just being big and strong. And then the other one I'm gonna throw on here is durability, just because, and I'm stealing this verbatim from the villains wiki. Durability. Bowser has been drenched in lava, electrocuted, blown up, crushed by objects as heavy as both his own castle and Peach's castle, rammed into a rock by a fallen hundreds of feet. Rammed into a rock by a fallen hundreds of feet. That's not even grammatically correct, Wikipedia. He's been rammed into a rock that has fallen hundreds of feet. He's been sucked into a black hole and ejected through the Mario Earth's atmosphere, blown up by an entire room of bob-ombs, and even squashed underfoot by a T-Rex in Mario's Time Machine, and has inevitably survived each fate. So, for this, I'm gonna just put an asterisk on this in that I'm not gonna say he's invincible. I'm gonna say he still loses these fights that he does. He appears later, but he still loses these fights. But he's a beefy boy. He's obviously quite durable. And so kind of the last major power I have on here is Bowser's ability to grow larger. So in the latest game, if you're following the hot Nintendo trends that Bowser's in, is the Bowser's Fury addition to the Super Mario 3D World. And basically the theme on this one is that Bowser has transformed into like this kaiju Godzilla-sized version of himself called Fury Bowser, who will like, you know, while you're going through a level will appear like in the vague background of the world and, you know, unleash hell upon, you know, what you're trying to platform around on. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to use that one. But as I was looking through all the different Bowsers, he does this a lot. Like, maybe like 20% of the games he's in, the last boss is like a giant version of Bowser who has increased his size through some, you know, plot relevant means. So I'm going to leave this one here as like a kind of a question for you guys if we want to try and deal with the giant versions of Bowser.
How big are you saying he can get?
Well, it really varies. So he starts off like his main size is about like twice human size, like you know, maybe like 80% taller, and then obviously much bulkier. And then his size increases vary from like double to triple to like building size to, you know, kaiju Godzilla size, where it's like, you know, his hand is like bigger than, you know, the characters, and that's what you're fighting against. I think it's gonna be whether we go double, triple, or super. Like there's a super giant category, and then there's like like getting twice or three times as big is kind of a more of a gray area because he's already bigger than the rest of you guys's.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where Bowser is at. The way we do this again is we pick our fighting ground, which I think anyone have any objection to our standard arena of Central Park in New York City?
It makes sense for
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles. They are local.
It's home ground for Ninja Turtles.
They can grab a slice on the way over.
Also thematic if we go kaiju size, have some nice big buildings around to smash. And Oogway doesn't really fit, but whatever.
I'm going to go ahead and say we're not doing the kaiju thing.
I think the kaiju thing is going to be a little bit over the top.
All right. Fair enough. Because I don't think you guys have any way to compete with that. I mean, you can't
Not really. No.
poke him or chi block Godzilla. So what is it? What does this fight look? Is it going to be the Ninja Turtles split and we're each fighting two?
Right. You have a big advantage in that you have 4 turtles.
So yes and no, because I was thinking about this. The problem I have is that, like, with your individual fighters, you're kind of all or nothing on having strength available. But if one turtle gets knocked out, like I'm down, a quarter of my power, right? And it becomes easier to deal with the rest of them.
Uh-huh.
So I guess the question is, so like my assumption is that they would try to stick together most likely, because that's usually what they do is they fight, as a unit. The question is like, how quickly can you guys like pick them off, right? Because I feel like, one-on-one, your turtles outclass my turtles.
Yes, I would say that Oogway is smarter than all of your turtles.
That is almost certainly true. They are teenagers.
Also, yeah, definitely more like more fight smart than Bowser is.
And I think he has better technique than both of you.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
Yep.
Physicality is questionable because he doesn't move fast very often, but he does sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really only a couple of like instances of him fighting, and they are usually pretty short, at least that we see of. He has fought in the past, they just don't show it.
Should we start with me versus Ben? Because I think in my head, the turtles are going to very easily be able to identify Bowser as the bad guy.
Yes. Yeah.
And be the most eager to go and attack him. I feel like Oogway would probably be the last one into the fight.
Well, I mean, Oogway doesn't like bad guys either. Is that how are we like keeping their motivations to fight evil?
No, I think it's more that like if we're picking targets, it's more likely that both Oogway and the we can't just say the turtles. Whatever.
The Ninja Turtles.
The Ninja Turtles.
The Ninja Turtles would go at Bowser first, just because he looks like more of a threat.
Yeah, I mean, usually we don't keep those like the character motivations, but I mean,
I think even just ignoring
it's
motivations.
It's less motivations. It's less motivations, more personality. Like
right.
I can't imagine that like Raphael doesn't immediately jump into a fight with Bowser. Like where does that not happen?
It's also just like in terms of threat assessment, I feel like when you look at the 10-foot tall spiked turtle breathing fire versus the little man turtle,
right. Oogway doesn't look threatening.
Right? Yeah,
he's
so
deceptive like that.
I feel like Bowser will be targeted first.
He also does this fair bit of taunting.
Also true, yeah. And just in terms of speed, it would take Oogway a little bit to get over there to where they're fighting. So maybe, yes, we do start with Bowser v. the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I imagine Oogway wouldn't, he would let he would let the other turtles come to him.
Right.
He wouldn't go to them.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. What are the odds that Oogway is eliminated first? I feel like they're very low.
That he's what?
That he's eliminated first.
Oh, that he's eliminated first.
Because I feel like Bowser and the Ninja Turtles are both going to be much more aggressive and wind up going at each other more often.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, let's talk me versus Ben first and see where it goes. It's also a decent matchup because there's Bowser has some number of area attacks. He's decently equipped to fight multiple turtles at once. The thing with Bowser is if you just look at his powers, he's gonna win. But if you look at Bowser himself, it's much
more
sketchier.
Ambiguous. Yeah.
because he is the villain, he's not the one coming up with innovative new tactics to squeak away a win from bad odds. He's the one who starts with the overwhelming advantage and blows it.
I always imagine Bowser is pretty dumb.
Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
Is Bowser at a advantage because he hasn't prepared for this fight with some giant contraption?
Probably.
That's gonna blow up in his own face.
Those contraptions usually go badly for him.
Usually the way Bowser gets injured is by his own stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, Bowser is basically just an all brute force thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's the tank. He can take a lot of damage. He can give a lot of damage. He's probably slower than the Ninja Turtles.
He's almost certainly slower. He does have I think about the sweep of flame breath and the spaying around while in his shell and spikes going around. I feel like those are pretty effective anti Ninja Turtle weaponry.
The spikes help a lot. You can't sneak. You can't attack from the back.
Right. Yeah. You can stab his tail.
Oh yeah, his tail is a weakness.
His tail is a weak point.
Yeah, the main way you fight him, I'm trying to think of the games where he doesn't have where he's not screwing himself over. And the closest is probably Super Mario 64, where you grab him by the tail and you spin him around and throw him.
Question. Do you know how heavy Bowser is?
I might be able to find out.
Because we know how much Raphael can lift.
Do the Ninja Turtles have a tail?
I don't think so.
Oogway has a tail.
How heavy is Bowser?
I don't see a tail on the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I've been looking through a lot of pictures of Ninja Turtles and I do not see any tails.
Oh, wait. 1,200 pounds is the actual
Oh my
weight.
God.
1,600 pounds is the boss fight's weight.
Well, Raphael can lift 1,200 pounds at full effort.
It's just him, though. It's just the one.
It's just, but if the others can distract him, Raphael can Mario 64 Bowser. Technically, Michelangelo and Leonardo could combine because they are 600 and 640 respectively. So the two of them could maybe also do it, but the easiest option is Raphael.
Oh my God, it's amazing. The real question is, and this is again in the realm of screwing yourself over with your machinations, is in Super Mario 64, the reason it hurts Bowser, he gets thrown into a bomb. If you throw him off the stage and he falls into the abyss, he pops up just fine.
That is a problem.
So you're gonna have to find a way to injure Bowser. We'll say this, you have a decent shot of getting there and grabbing him by the tail and tossing him. It's feasible for the turtles, but where do they go from there?
That I do not know. I don't have a good answer to that.
Impale on something.
On like the fence of Central Park?
How many bombs are there in Central Park?
Don't Google that. Whatever you do, don't Google that. We're on enough watch lists.
So how durable do you think Bowser is if you just like stab him in the not shell?
I mean, Mario's never tried that. As far as I know.
Mario's never tried to stab Bowser.
Feels like an oversight, honestly.
Mario needs to learn how to use knives.
I guess you could say it's not. You could say in Smash Bros, like Mario's punches are kind of equivalent to the stabbings, but I'm not sure if that's a good comparison.
I mean, there are characters with swords in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, they're comparable in that game. I just wonder if that game is a good one to use.
I don't think it is particularly.
I don't know if I consider that canon.
There's not too many swords that make their way into the Mario universe.
There really aren't. I mean, he's a big turtle, right? Like,
I imagine his not shell part is vulnerable.
Yeah, I would say so. They do also only one of them is fully like a bladed weapon, which is the katanas that Leonardo has. I mean, I don't know if like a bow staff is better or worse than that, but you can whap him pretty well.
Yeah, I guess it's fine that he can be vulnerable to the webs. I think he does have a bit of a durability advantage in that he can take a couple hits. Like he could maybe like shrug one off to like counter punch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely more durable than both of us, but I wouldn't say he's invulnerable.
No, certainly.
No, not straight invulnerable.
So I guess getting down to brass tacks, if the turtles take him down, how many turtles, or the Ninja Turtles, take him down, how many Ninja Turtles is he taking with him?
Yeah, I imagine not all of them are going to survive.
Yeah. I think this is an attrition situation.
I'd say at least 2 die.
Or are knocked unconscious, defeated.
Yeah. Because there's a very good chance when you kill or when you beat Bowser, he falls backwards onto the turtles and impales them with his spikes.
Okay, do we want to let's jump to the next phase after the Bowser and Ninja Turtle fight and talk about the Oogway versus some number between 1 and 4 Ninja Turtles.
I'd say somewhere between 1 and 3. I don't think all of them survive.
I mean, it's possible. We can't rule it out anyway.
Fine, sure.
So yeah, in that situation, what does happen? Like, how many turtles can Oogway fight?
How immature would you say the Ninja Turtles are? Because they're teenagers.
It varies.
Do they argue with each other a lot?
They do certainly argue with each other.
Okay, so they're slightly dysfunctional.
So I would say that if part of the strategy is going to involve like playing off the dysfunction, the presence or absence of Leonardo is going to be a big impact there. Because I feel like if Leonardo is around, I think he can sort of keep them like, focused and on task. But if it's like, Raphael and Michelangelo left, I feel like they're going to be a lot easier to sort of, distract / play off each other a little bit more.
So who do you think is the easiest turtle from Oogway to paralyze with his pressure point thing? Probably one of the ones that doesn't have the longer range. So not the bow staff and not the swords.
Yeah, so that's ruling out Leonardo and Donatello. I would guess. I feel like Michelangelo with the nunchucks, he can sort of keep them around himself and sort of fend them off more. I think Raphael is probably gonna be the best target because the Sai are not as much of a like crowd control situation.
So that's probably the most likely target for paralyzing if I go for that.
Well, here's the question: would the 1,000-year kung fu master just be able to beat like 2 to 3 turtles with just his ninja with his kung fu skills?
I mean, it's hard to tell.
I think 3 is tough. 3 is to the point where I feel like even with a very skilled combatant, like it's just pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they're working it all together, it's pretty hard to like fight up against that. 2 gives you a lot more breathing room.
He can definitely beat 1.
I think 1 he'll basically always take.
Yeah.
So is that kind of where it breaks down, where it's like 2 is like maybe a little
How
bit.
How many turtles are going to be left?
Yeah.
And then if with those numbers, what's it like? So I'd probably say 1 turtle is, just to keep it simple, 1 turtle has no chance.
Yeah. I'd say 2 is like
is like
slightly towards him. It's like 60-40 maybe or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 35% for the 2 turtles, and then like 75%.
That works. Actually, yeah, that works.
So
that
and so basically, how many turtles are we saying make it into the fight? Let's just say the chance of 1 turtle and all turtles surviving are about the same, so I can just kind of ignore it. That way, it's like 0.5. Half the time, it's 2 turtles, and then half the time, it's 3 turtles. No, that's not what I want to do.
That's not how math happens.
No, that's not how math happens. Something like
half the time 2, maybe like, so we have half of it to play with. I feel like it's only like maybe 10% max that all of them make it through.
Yeah, I was like, let me just lean this. I'll just lean this percentage down a little bit here. Okay, so that leaves. So if you say 70% with 3 turtles. Oh, that's why this isn't working out. This number's far too. This is not how math works either. Okay, hold on. I'm mathing.
You are aware that you said 75-35 before, right?
Don't worry about it. It's fine. It'll all come out in the wash.
I'm already multiplying too many numbers here live.
Number go boom sometimes. It's fine.
Okay, well, it ends up being 60-40 for Chris here. It on the 2 turtles and 3 turtles and 1, 2, 3, 4 turtles, the way we discussed.
I didn't follow, but I'm going to trust you.
Me neither, but we'll stick the landing. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, what are the chances? What's the situation where it winds up being Bowser versus Oogway?
I think that's pretty unlikely. I mean, it's still possible, but I mean, I think Oogway is going to be more passive in the beginning.
Yeah. If we just take it like, the way like the fight starts, the turtles charge Bowser. Bowser unleashes like shockwaves, fireballs, hammers, punches, whatever, spins with the shell, and then just like suddenly the turtles are down because they don't like being on fire. And then Bowser kind of goes for Oogway. What does the Bowser Oogway fight look like?
Bowser Oogway is interesting. I think Oogway is, even though he's slow most of the time, I do think when he moves fast, he's faster than Bowser.
I'm actually thinking, even though my fighter is Bowser, I think Oogway is actually pretty heavily favored against Bowser.
Bowser has no technique.
Yeah, just tactically, he's so outclassed.
Bowser is nothing but predictable. His attack patterns have always been, I'm going to do the same thing 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And I think if he got a chance to watch me fight Ben, then he would have, the info he needs to, like, definitely get up to Bowser and start hitting him with his spirit stick. The question is that going to be enough, or will he like start doing some, trying to do a couple pressure points, and then Bowser just like decks him into the ground?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the win state is if I do the pressure point thing for me. I guess in the movies there's the thing called the whooshy finger too, which
the whooshy finger.
I think it's whooshy. I think it's whooshy. He doesn't actually use it, but Po uses it, and apparently Po learned it from Shifu, who learned it from Oogway.
Got it.
So Oogway should know it, and it's very vague what it actually does, but it's it defeats enemies somehow.
Okay.
I don't know. Poe uses it, and then there's this like big aura of light, and then the enemy is defeated.
Okay.
But
I
you
don't know
have
how
to.
much
He has
I don't
to
know how
grab.
much credit I can give that.
He has to grab the person's finger in order to do it.
I mean, it's not super hard to grab Bowser's finger. I mean, it's pretty sharp.
It's a big finger, though, right? I don't know.
It's a very big finger. It's a big spiky finger that's probably swiping at him.
I don't know if it might be too big to grab, especially with Oogway's. Like Oogway has like turtley fingers. They're not actual fingers.
I guess, like, Chris, just your gut. Like, just imagine Oogway gets up to Bowser, just does some of his staff hitting, poking, you know, he gets his combo off on Bowser. Does Bowser just shrug it off? Because I think that's really the only thing. Like, Bowser's not going to, you know, block his attacks very much. It's going to be like, Oogway's going to get to do his attack sequence. The question is it going to affect Bowser?
I think the pressure point thing would work.
Okay.
Hard to tell if like a normal attack would work.
How big are the villains in in the Panda? Is it just the tiger dude? I remember the tiger dude.
There's a snow leopard. There's like a
That's what I meant, the snow leopard dude.
There's a peacock, and there's the third one is some sort of bull or something.
Okay, so Bull is kind of comparable to base Bowser, I would guess.
Hold on, I'm gonna look to see what it actually is. Oh, yep, it's a bull. It doesn't say like a height or anything. It is bigger than Oogway, but I don't think it's as big as Bowser.
Oh yeah, no, he's just kind of like he's a little short, stout for a main villain. Although I guess it's kind of the Kung Fu Panda's thing is that like shape.
Right.
I kind of want to split it. Like it feels close to 50-50 for me.
Okay. I mean,
Just because like Bowser's just real strong.
yeah, there isn't really anyone as big as Bowser in the Kung Fu Panda universe.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, if Bowser doesn't have the plot device that he's ruining himself with, and he's just straight up fighting something, like, Mario typically wouldn't have a chance against that. Mario gets to win because of...
Well, Mario can lift Bowser.
Mario can lift Bowser, though. So he's got that hidden strength.
I mean, I'm okay with 50-50.
Yeah, it feels even to me. So what we didn't establish is how likely is it that the Ninja Turtles will defeat Bowser?
Well, we said it depends on how many turtles are around, right?
Well, no. We how many turtles are left is what we're saying, but the actual how many times does Bowser defeat all 4 turtles?
I feel like it's pretty low, right?
I think it's less than Oogway. Oogway has a better chance.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Because this is where it's like, you know, if he knocks one out earlier, it's a lot harder for them to come out, whereas Oogway is always, you know, full strength. I mean, my gut is that it's probably something like...
I would say like 35-65.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
So 35% of the time, Bowser beats the Turtles?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 65% of the time. Bowser beats the Turtles.
Wait, really?
Oh, gotcha. Oh, we're on the opposite. You guys are on opposite sides.
I was going the other way.
Right? We were saying that Bowser beats the Turtles, weren't we?
I mean, I think Bowser beats the Turtles.
Really?
Like, kind of for the same thing where it's just Bowser has lots of strong attacks. They're predictable, yes, but also he's strong, guys. He's hard to hurt. It's hard to beat Bowser.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where most of the ways that Bowser dies are because he like gets spun around and gets dizzy, and having 4 turtles makes it a lot easier to do things like that.
Yeah, I do think we're underestimating Bowser's dumbness.
Right.
All right, let's do 60-40 because I think it's more likely, and we've already established that the Turtles, even if they win that 6% of the time, they're going to be taking some damage as a result.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Turtles beat Bowser 60% of the time.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's weirder than a lot of the times we do this because they can, you know, Bowser can get a couple of them and they still win, right? It's different than most of the time we do this.
We've never had a team.
So let me. I think that does like we could talk about a situation where Oogway fights first. But I just don't really see that being.
I don't think
very
that'll
likely.
happen.
Yeah, I don't either.
So let me doing some math. So drum roll, in last place, probably not too surprising, is actually Bowser. Mainly because he is disadvantaged on his first fight and then is still 50-50 against Oogway.
Mm-hmm.
He's slow and dumb, which is not a good combo.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah,
he's
got all the strength, but really suffers from villain syndrome, where he can have all these advantages. It just doesn't. The sum is less than the parts.
Right.
So 20% for Bowser. Next up, second place is the Ninja Turtles at just 24%, actually.
Wow.
Is that low?
Yeah, it's got I did that right.
I mean,
because
when you lock in one competitor to probably always make it to this, the showdown,
the round two,
that is true.
It helps.
It does help the number significantly.
I only
but
have to
it
do
is,
one fight.
Like, for this fight, pretty legit. Like, normally I have the extra flow charts going down.
Yeah. It's like I get a buy.
And even if, like, we took the 10% chance, like, if we didn't give him that buy, because I think if Oogway fought twice, if he fought both of us, he'd probably be too old and tired and would be defeated.
Mm-hmm.
But even if that happens 10% of the time, we'd be splitting, like, a 10% win rate, Ben, which would not be enough for either of us to
exactly
change the standings here. So, that said, the winner is Oogway with 56% of the time. Oogway wins this fight.
Wow.
And that is the official absurd hypothetical results for which turtle would win in a fight.
And it's my second ever win. Oh, yeah.
Woohoo!
Nice.
My first ever not cheap win.
Congratulations, buddy. Except you don't have time to celebrate because we still got more show to do, because we have to go on to the Would You Rather question. Ben, are you ready for a Would You Rather?
Yes.
Or actually, no, screw you. Chris won. Chris, are you ready for a Would You Rather?
Yay! Yes.
Would you rather experience 40 days of rain or 40 days of darkness without sun? That's what I mean by darkness.
So, with the rain, you can still get sunlight, I assume.
Yeah, it's a regular rain day. The sun is behind the clouds as per usual.
It's like nighttime level darkness, right?
Right. It's like it's like overcast versus nighttime, but overcast is raining.
Yeah, it's rain versus night. Is this confusing?
Well, okay. You said darkness, not night. Like, there's a difference there. Come on, cut us some slack here.
Yeah. I mean, when it's overcast, it's still a little dark.
Yeah. It's been pretty dark in the rain sometimes.
I personally hate getting wet in the rain, and I don't really mind it dark, especially because, like, a lot of times I'm inside. Like, if you want to do something outside, it sucks a lot more. Like, if you want to play a sport outside, it sucks a lot more to play a sport in the rain than at night.
Yeah, that I'll agree with. Like, going outside is suckish in the rain.
Did we do this before? Wait, hold on, y'all. Wait. Did we do this question before? Because I feel like Chris has made this exact same point before.
I don't think we have.
Let's take a look. We can hot check.
I feel like you've...
I think it is, would you rather it always be nighttime, I think, versus always...
Oh, okay.
Always daytime.
Got it. All
always
right.
daytime or always nighttime was the previous one.
I
that we
see.
found.
Okay, so it's somewhere about the same. Okay, never mind.
Now we made the daytime one worse. So, I mean, I think doing pretty much anything outside is worse in the rain. I don't... What's better when it's raining?
There is some light when it's raining. 40 days of darkness, also, like, with no sun, does that also mean, like, there's no warming during the daytime? Is it going to get very cold?
I was just thinking about that. It's going to get pretty cold.
There's a difference. There's a fundamental difference between these two things in that 40 days of rain is just England, while 40 days of darkness is like...
A biblical...
Yeah, biblical Egypt or something.
Well, no,
like,
just
something has
somewhere
gone wrong with
up
the
north.
sun.
This is a plague.
It's just somewhere up north. There's places where it does that.
Okay, I guess that's fair. Yeah, all right. There it is actually a
Oh,
real
yeah.
thing. Well,
It's just a thing.
it's a thing that's further away than England, though.
Yeah, further north in England, is that what's left up there?
Like, if in darkness, you can still have artificial light.
That's true. I guess, are we going to say that it gets, like, Arctic cold? Because that would affect things.
How much temperature do we lose? Like, how much temperature do we lose per day?
I don't know how much colder it would actually get in just 40 days. I feel like it would take longer than that to be, like, super cold. It might be a little colder, but not that much.
This question's definitely been answered because this is like, if the sun went out, how long would the Earth survive?
Oh, right.
A relative simple calculation would show that the Earth's surface temperature would drop by a factor of 2 about every 2 months if the sun were shut off. This means that in 2 months, the temperature would drop to 150 Kelvin from 300 Kelvin. That means it's going to get cold. So 273 Kelvin is the freezing point of water. So 273 is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And so if we're going from, if the range is 300 to 150 over 2 months, we're going from like 300 to 200 in the 40 days, which means 200 Kelvin is going to be negative 100 Fahrenheit.
But that's if it starts at, you said 32 degrees Fahrenheit?
No, it starts at 300 Kelvin, which is 80 degrees.
Oh, okay. Well, that's dramatic.
But yeah, so the very tail end of this is going to be very, very cold, which kind of just end things. Let's say that the sun's not entirely gone, that is the other side of the world's getting heated, and maybe just cold on our side a bit, like it drops to cold temperatures, like, it's below freezing, but not apocalyptic, because would you rather it rain for 40 days or have the apocalypse happen? It's not a very good would you rather.
Not great.
So it'll be uncomfortably cold.
And dark.
I don't mind the dark. I don't like the cold, though. But it won't be cold the entire time.
Right. It's just on the tail end, it'll just be pretty cold.
Right. So I'm still leaning towards dark.
How like consistent of rain is it? Is it like raining pretty hard? Is it just misting some of the time, or what?
Let's say it's like like England, where it's just it's like a light rain.
I would say it's more than a sprinkle.
It's slightly more than it's slightly more than a sprinkle, but not like,
it's not downpours.
But not to the point where like flooding everywhere, kind of.
Like if you have an umbrella, like if you go out, you can like take out the trash without like worrying about it. Like you'll be like slightly damp but not wet.
But it is a steady rain, I think, nonstop.
The cold is worrying to me, because even if it's only at the tail end, it still could be like a few days that are pretty badly cold and dark.
You just stay inside. If we're saying it's just like winter temperature, then that's not that bad.
I guess that's fair. All right. Which is more dangerous to have to go out into the world in with regards to like driving? Night driving or rain driving? I think it's actually night driving, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably night driving. Like as far as visibility, like because the main concern is visibility. I guess rain has like slipperiness, but it could still rain in 40 days of darkness.
That's true.
And I feel more comfortable driving in the rain than I do driving at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I don't really drive anywhere.
Well, fair.
For me, it's just like, which one of these is worse seasonal depression? And I think it might actually be the darkness is more depressing than the rain, even though the rain is like the typical depressing one.
I think I might agree with you too, actually.
I think I want that little bit of that even though it's behind the clouds, the little bit of sunshine.
I don't agree with that. But that might be because I am used to working night shifts and being on an opposite schedule.
Yeah, that could be it. You could just be broken inside already.
I've experienced a few months of just nighttime and sleeping during the day.
Okay, I think we've all kind of decided. Chris, you seem like you've made up your mind the most.
Yep, I'm going darkness.
Ben?
I'm going rain.
I'm also going rain, even though it would be in my right up my character to say the 40 Days of Darkness is the cool event that you live through and is much more exciting than 40 Days of Rain, and I want to have the story, but I want to take care of my mental health and get at least the hint of sunshine during the day. So I'm gonna go with the rain.
And because I chose it, and you can't agree with me.
Not that you're a filthy fight winner.
Yeah, I already got my win for the episode.
Yeah, you already got your win. I don't have to agree with you anymore. We're out of this thing. But before we actually go and totally sign off, this is the part of the podcast where we ask you, the listener, for stuff. And by stuff, I mean support. And by support, I mean a review. And by review, I mean the thing that you can do in your podcast app where you say nice things about us and give us lots of stars. Like 5 of them is the ideal number. And tell us what you think. And we would love to hear your thoughts. And reviews are a great way to help support a podcast that is entirely free. If you hear that and you're like, I don't trust anything that's free, you could also go to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/absurdhypotheticals and become a patron for just $1 or more if you'd like. But just $1 gets you access to our monthly behind-the-scenes episodes, where you get to take a peek at how we make the show, and it's just more good listening if you just need more absurd hypotheticals in your life. But if you don't pay that $1, you have to wait a whole nother week until we answer the following question, which we've done one time before, but we're doing it again. What if video game items were real?